live from Dr. Pink Field in Frisco, Texas, and USA Ultimate is proud to present the 2014 USA Ultimate National Championship and this men's semifinal between Toronto GOAT and Denver Johnny Bravo. A look at our men's bracket and the final four, now down to three after an unbelievable semifinal matchup between Boston Ironside and Raleigh Ring of Fire. Ironside pulling out the 13-12 win on Universe Point. With the voice of Ultimate Evan Lepler, I'm Wayne Randazzo. And how can we top that first semifinal here in this second one?
As hard as it is to believe, my heart's still beating fast from that last game. That was just the opening act, and this is the main event. Bravo against GOAT. And for the team from Toronto, we're finally seeing the squad that we expected to see last year when they were the second overall seed and they fell flat. And this Bravo team, the most talented squad we've had at Nationals in years. They were put together to win Nationals. Can they do it? We're going to find out.
And it's Toronto GOAT Club coming off a win where they knocked off the defending champion. San Francisco Revolver is gone because of this GOAT team.
It was an unbelievable game. I still really don't believe how it happened because Revolver had a 3-zip lead and looked to be in control. But this Toronto team continued to believe. And this Toronto team has an unbelievable array of stars. None that shine any brighter, though, than Mark Lloyd. And I look forward to allowing the rest of the country a chance to see Mark Lloyd, a great thrower, a great deep cutter, an all-around great player for GOAT. A team of stars, but he's the brightest.
And Toronto GOAT trying to win its first national championship, a two-time Canadian championship team. But we look at this Johnny Bravo team and the fresh young face of Jimmy Mickle.
Johnny Bravo has too much talent. At least that's what some people have said. But head coach Bob Cryer has melded this talent. They've made some changes. We talk a lot about George Stubbs moving from offense to defense. Denver's made some similar alterations to strategy, and Mickle still is the hot star in the game. The kid from Colorado that led Mama Bird to the title this past May in Cincinnati. He has hopes of winning an even more prestigious title here in Texas.
Boston Ironside is waiting for the winner. We'll have this second semifinal for you coming up in just a moment. Toronto GOAT, Denver Johnny Bravo live in Frisco coming up next. The 2014 USA Ultimate Championships are brought to you by Discraft Ultrastar, the official disc of USA Ultimate. Ask your retailer today about Discraft Ultrastar. The Triple Crown Tour, America's most competitive and prestigious series of ultimate tournaments. And by USA Ultimate, the national governing body of the sport of ultimate in the United States. To learn more about USA Ultimate or to find out where to play in your area, visit usaultimate.org. See Toronto's starting lineup: Derek Alexander, Scotty Nichols, Thompson McKnight, the handlers Isaiah Massick-Kelly, with Jeff Lindquist, Mark Lloyd, we mentioned in the opening, Cam Harris as well. Toronto GOAT, Scott Hasty, the head coach of this squad that pulled off the big upset, beating Revolver and advancing to this final four, which now is down to three, including the two teams here at Boston Ironside. In the finals, Johnny Bravo with Bart Watson, Ryan Farrell, Josh Ackley, their handlers, Sean Keegan, Kurt Gibson, Jimmy Mickle, and Jackson Clore, as Johnny Bravo tries to get back into the championship game. The opening pull here in Frisco for our final broadcast tonight, the second men's semifinal. And it begins with Johnny Bravo in possession. Number 5 seed against the 10 seed Toronto GOAT. Highest seed, and the lowest seed remaining is number 4, Boston Ironside, after their win. That's Jimmy Mickle, champion from Mama Bird and collegiate winner earlier this year.
Andrew Carroll getting the early defensive task on Mickle. Toli Vasiliev chasing Bart Watson. Here's Sean Keegan, marked by Adrian Yearwood. As we see the D-line. That's Ryan Farrell, chased by Yearwood. Keegan being marked by Remy Ojo in the stack.
Johnny Bravo in white. The blue tops for Toronto GOAT. Numbers look like the Blue Jays font on the back of their jerseys. Toronto Goat trying to advance into the championship round to face Boston Ironside tomorrow. Johnny Bravo with possession here as Ryan Farrell has the disc. Flips it ahead to Kurt Gibson. Now Mickle swings it out to the side, far side of the field. Back to Jimmy Mickle it goes. Johnny Bravo, formed in Boulder initially. Denver-based. They still get plenty of players from Boulder. They've got Colorado Automotive program.
They've got a bunch of commuting players as well. Brett Matsuka moving to Kansas City for a new job next week. Brody Smith in the Chicago area has been commuting to play. Kurt Gibson, ironically, last year he lived in Denver and played for Austin Double Wide. He just moved back to Dallas for his job, and he's still playing with the Denver team. Kurt hasn't had to come very far to play in this tournament. Be interesting to see where he goes down the road. It might have something to do with what happens over these next 24 hours. Jeff Bomber Powell is the GOAT defender on Gibson. So many of these guys have played for their country's national teams and have gone against each other when it's been USA versus Canada.
Perhaps the most talented team out of this entire group. Johnny Bravo's got a lot to look forward to with a young roster, but a chance this weekend to win the national championship.
Adrian Yearwood took a shot to the face there from Farrell after a very crafty lefty backhand from Gibson. Here's the contact. Ooh, shoulder the chin.
Red zone chance here for Johnny Bravo as they look to score first. Conservative pass to Kurt Gibson, another stoppage here. We got a few earlier. This one actually will go down as a point.
He was in, they were on the doorstep. They just needed a step.
So Kurt Gibson does get the goal. And Johnny Bravo on the board first.
There's Brody Smith, perhaps the most famous name in Ultimate. He's finally healthy. He's been really big on Bravo's O-line this weekend. But for him and really everybody on this Johnny Bravo team, it's been learning how to make the most of their talent. You know, Bob Pryor, their coach, has had the challenging task of transforming this collection of individuals into a team. And Bob Pryor told me earlier this week that, you know, everyone has their established opinions about how things are supposed to go. And for parts of the season, they had, quite frankly, too many cooks in the kitchen. So they needed everybody to get on board strategy-wise. And this is a team, the goal has been to win nationals. A couple Florida gentlemen, Smith and Gibson, they were both on the double-wide team that won it in Sarasota 2 years ago. And Kurt Gibson, who led Bravo in scoring during the tournament through the first 2 days, gets the first strike for Bravo. And it'll be Matsuka to pull, another transplant. He played for Ring of Fire last year. Probably was warming up on an adjacent field with an eye or an ear on the roars here at Dr. Pink.
Quite a finish to that one. Ring of Fire went on a 6-1 run to force a Universe point, down 11-6. They drew even. Ironside pulled out the win after a deflected pass made it through the end zone. 13-12 win for Boston. The GOAT with their first possession of this game.
Mark Lloyd with his first touch. Number 89 in blue. And the first defensive task, Hilka Sneeder, the big fellow guarding Mark Lloyd. Lloyd had 5 goals in the first half against Revolver yesterday on this same field here in Frisco.
GOAT also was 1-2 in pool play. We saw Raleigh Ring of Fire 1-2 in pool play, but so was GOAT. In fact, GOAT's only win in pool play was against Ring of Fire.
Upset by temper, beaten as many expected by Sockeye. And Sockeye couldn't even get to the quarters. Neither could temper. Two top seeds in that pool are done. They're watching. Ring and Goat both in the semis, and oh, he kept it alive.
Right at the edge of the dive, Cam Harris making that play.
Harris has had something of a tough season as Lloyd had it, lost it. Caught a foul on his trailing defender.
Lloyd looking for that foul. It's being disputed, and it will likely end up going to the observers here. See if we can get a better look as Mark Lloyd laid out. Makes the catch cleanly and then just drops it. I don't know what there was some incidental contact it looked like before he went for it.
I'm going to say he keeps the disc. Saying he might have kept his feet if not for the incidental contact.
So it stays with Goat and a chance in the red zone. Right up on the edge of the goal line. Jeff Lindquist trying to force it in, and he pops it up for the goal. And Goat gets on the board, answering the first score from Johnny Bravo.
It's pretty amazing to see Jeff Lindquist on the field. He suffered a very serious injury, a punctured lung at Northeast Regionals, where Goat actually lost to Ironside in the regional final. Beat Pony in the second place game to go, but Lindquist, a veteran, his 10th year on Goat. He's played for numerous Canadian national teams, and when he's healthy, he's one of the best in the world. 9 assists through pool play in the first 2 rounds in bracket action, leading the team. Lindquist. Nice to see Derek Alexander back on the field as well. A guy who suffered some very serious injuries in an accident detailed in the great internet series The Herd about the Goat team from last year.
Toronto Goat 1-2 in Pool C. They beat Revolver though in the quarterfinals. Got hot late in this tournament.
And that was not a gimme game against Sub-Zero. Minneapolis really played Goat tough. It was back and forth. I think it was 8-7 at half. Goat ended up pulling away largely because of Lloyd. Cam Harris, another youngster. He and Lloyd grew up playing against each other at first and then with each other on junior national team, U23, and eventually the senior Canadian club.
Johnny Bravo gets it back after each team scores on their opening possessions. Point on each side, and now Johnny Bravo with Josh Ackley in possession.
Josh Ackley sometimes gets lost in the shuffle because he's been injured a bit over the past couple of years, but he won a Callahan and a national title at Colorado too.
Now Jackson Clore has it for Johnny Bravo. Fires it out to the side where Kurt Gibson was waiting. Back to Clore it goes.
Gibson streaking deep. Mickle has him.
And Gibson catches it in stride on a pass from Jimmy Mickle as Johnny Bravo grabs the lead right back.
Picture perfect put from Jimmy. And you saw Kurt break away on the right side of your screen. He's still got wheels. And this is a guy who won a national title at Florida. Was one of the top players in the world and then shrunk to nothing when he was diagnosed with colon cancer. Could barely walk. Recovered. Multiple rounds of chemo. Less than a year later, he was part of the double-wide team in 2012 that won the title with Mike Natenberg and Tim Garrett, another one of his former Florida buddies. I was chatting with Kurt's college coach, Kurt Dollenberg, at the fields a couple days ago, and he told me he thought Kurt is in the best shape he's ever been in, which is really saying something.
Yeah, that's an incredible story. Kurt Gibson able to get on the board here for Johnny Bravo as they have been able to get through on their first couple of tries, expecting that this could be quite a juggernaut of offense between both of these teams. We can see a lot of points go up very quickly between these two sides here tonight. The Bravos wasted no time scoring in their first two attempts. Goat's gotten in the end zone already. Now in the deep pull, Goat will start from the back of their end zone.
Thompson McKnight, a real solid center handler. Not all that flashy, but he gets the job done. Very reliable to get the offense triggered. There's the scooper from Lindquist to Lloyd.
They don't always go for goals. Lindquist with a scooper there just to keep the possession going. Juggling catch now by Derek Alexander.
Nick Lance chasing Alexander. Lance, another Callahan Award winner. He won it a few years back with Georgia Tech. Sneeder trying to stay close with Lloyd, and now again Alexander downfield. Will Lockey trying to stop Isaiah Masek-Kelly from making the deep cut.
A deep drive on the Huck. And some contact in the end zone as Mark Lloyd tried to come up with that one. Lloyd going over Hilka Sneeder.
Lloyd probably feels like he should have had it, but it looked like he was fouled.
Yeah, it certainly does. Right over his left shoulder as he went up with the right hand.
And I'm not sure if Sneeder's going to contest this. I think he's going to accept the foul. It'll be Lloyd's disc. I've got such respect for Mark Lloyd that on a play like that, when he doesn't make the play, you just assume there's a foul.
No travel, the disc stays.
Travel call on the throw overturned. Lloyd will keep it as Goat looks for the equalizer.
Goat will have it. And a chance right on the goal line after that foul occurred in the end zone. Mark Lloyd brings it out of the end zone, and they'll try it right from the edge. Lloyd swings it out. That's Alexander trying to punch it in, and they do. As Goat ties this game, the goal goes to Masek-Kelly.
Isaiah Masek-Kelly, another piece of this youth explosion for Goat, along with Harris and Lloyd. Goat is definitely not intimidated by Bravo's array of talent. Talking with Scott Hasty yesterday, their head coach for quite a while now, talked about how, how the revolver win was great, but in the huddle after the game, he proclaimed the following message to his team. He said, "It does not mean anything if we don't finish things tomorrow." And I disagree. I think it was very significant regardless of what happens today, but you understand his point.
Well, if the goal is to win a championship, then that's the only goal for Isaiah Masek-Kelly. Score here to draw things back to even.
From a defensive standpoint, Goat has talked about wanting to be prepared for their style, having really good marks to try to slow down their shooting style. And he also, Shooter Hasty told me that Bravo goes east to west really, really well. So he wants to make them work for their swings. That was a pretty easy one. Brody Smith over to Bart Watson. Oh my, looking for
Deep
Mickle.
Shot. Jimmy Mickle goes up and can't fit it. No contest there on the defensive play. Goat will get it back, first turnover.
Andrew Carroll taking the challenge of guarding Mickle, and he makes the play.
Just a solid defensive play there by Carroll.
That was the first turn of the game.
Almost another one there. Actually will be another one as Jonathan Martin went out of bounds.
Martin, the captain, they call him Martinez. He could not stay in bounds, so You sometimes see that. Teams so efficient early, and then one mistake sort of opens the floodgates. I'd be surprised if there were, a huge number of turns in this game. The wind, while it's still a constant, has died down considerably. These teams' offenses are so good. Here's Brody. It's nice to see Brody back on the field. He's done such great things for the sport. His trick shot videos, his clinics with kids. He did a Hewlett-Packard commercial. He's done a car commercial. He's really become a true star, and he's got a very engaging personality, and our sport needs it.
Brody Smith with hot halter draped all over him. Smith wanted to foul for that contact.
Not giving up, changing direction. Yep. All right.
Hot halter will be on the side of Brody Smith once play is resumed here.
Ryan, got steps. All right, give it a sec.
Taps it back in and hands it back to Jimmy Mickle. Running grab made by Ryan Farrell. Johnny Bravo tries to reclaim the lead.
It was a good cut-up line made by Gibson. He had space, but it wasn't a ton of space, so Farrell said, let's swing it and not take any risks near the end zone. That's an easy one.
And wide open for the score, Sean Keegan. As Johnny Bravo has stayed a leg up so far and go.
Martin Watson, the super experienced handler. Won championships with Revolver, was eliminated by Revolver in last year's Nationals. Won a world title with San Francisco's team in 2012. Defeating a lot of these Toronto GOAT guys in the semifinals when they played with Furious. Toby Vasiliev, Jeff Lindquist, Adrian Yearwood, all played in that game, along with Morgan Hibbert, who we haven't seen yet in this game. It's going to be interesting to see when GOAT uses him. Johnny Bravo in the pool of death, the 4-5-9 combo. The big win was against Boston Ironside, a team they might get again in the finals. Was really disappointed by Ironside's effort in that game. Expected it to be a classic. Bravo won 12-9. It was not as close as the score indicated. Gotta say, Washington, D.C. truck stop really gave Bravo an unbelievable battle. Learned a lot of respect from those D.C. guys. Sean Keegan's old team. Peter Pryl was on Boston last year, moved down to D.C. He was a difference maker, and I like that he played wearing a Portland Sea Dogs hat.
Eastern League affiliate of the Boston Red Sox, Portland, Maine.
Same organization I work in.
GOAT tries to answer the Johnny Bravo score. They have the first two times. They have a stoppage here. Observers wear orange, and they are on the field to handle disputed calls.
Big mark, big mark.
These two stoppages early in this one. Seeing the fluidity, the pace of the game we saw in some of the other semifinal matchups earlier. Coming off a classic game with Boston Ironside advanced to the finals. A 13-12 win. Nice catch there to keep the possession going for Masekeli. Loney has a goal for GOAT. Now looking for an assist to the back of the end zone. And Mark Lloyd looking for the greatest on the point. Trying to keep it alive, but nobody was behind him.
I think he was out of bounds anyway. Tremendous effort, though. And Lloyd switches off of Stanley Peterson, who was chasing him.
If Lloyd would have been able to do that, that's the play that's called the greatest. Nice dive there for Johnny Bravo. Keep it alive.
Oh, what a sequence this is.
They swing it back, but it's too far for Beaches to run down.
That layout from Henry Conker, a speeding bullet of a disc coming right at him, laying out towards it. That is a ferociously challenging catch. This one right here. Conker's a guy that you probably don't even think of when you talk about Bravo, but they got guys who can make those types of plays too.
Possession back to Goat. This Goat team formed in 2002. 8th time competing at the national championships. Toronto-based team that draw players from all over Canada. We talk about the sport a lot here in this country, but what's the popularity of it up north?
It's tremendous. You know, it's really exploding in the eastern half of Canada after it's been huge in Vancouver forever. You know, the glory days of Furious George when they kept coming to USA Nationals and beating all the American teams. Go take a time out here. But now with Montreal's Mephisto, Toronto Goat has become the top team in Canada. Ottawa's got a strong program. And a lot of Canadian players have really become equals to their American counterparts.
Take a look at how this tournament comes through. For the history of it, at least first tournament back in 1979, second straight year. It's been here in Frisco. As far as the defending champions, 2 of them still alive in the women's final, DC Scandal tomorrow. And Minneapolis Dragon Thrust in the mixed final, but Revolver is down as they were knocked out of this tournament by Goat. Goat trying to advance to play Boston Ironside in the men's championship. We'll have all 3 divisions title games tomorrow.
Wayne, the incredible thing about those last 3 lines, I think if you were to ask the majority of people who follow Ultimate regularly, which of those 3 champs is most likely to repeat, the vast majority, the significant majority would have said Revolver. And yet, they're the one team of that trio that's not going to be playing tomorrow.
Because of these boys in blue from Toronto. Knocking them out in the quarterfinal round. An opportunity to play here tonight. Face off with Johnny Bravo, a 10 versus a 5 seed in this national semifinal. Loiseau has it for Goat. Now Alexander.
Loiseau's one of those guys from Ottawa, just like Alexander. Not a short drive to Toronto, but they become key members. And this guy, Scotty Nichols from North Bay, about 3.5 hours north of Toronto. I think Toronto's cold, go 3.5 hours north.
That's frigid.
Scotty Nichols brings, as Shooter Hasty called it, a North Bay attitude, a scrappiness about him.
They go deep here to look for the point, and it's pulled down with ease by Carl Loiseau to make it a 3-3 tie.
Austin Gregerson got burned, and Loiseau evens things up. Beautiful put to space, lots of it to work with, and an easy 2-handed catch from Loiseau. This is what makes Lloyd so dangerous. It's hard to say what's his most valuable skill. It's really the combination of them all that makes him so valuable, but he's so dangerous in the air. You play him underneath, he'll unleash pucks like that. And that's what happened yesterday. Bo Kittredge was guarding him in the second half yesterday. Revolver moved Bo to the D-line. Bo forced him underneath. You know, Ulti-World reported that he was forcing him under 5 to 10 yards. That's not exactly what I saw. I saw Mark Lloyd, you know, I don't want to say shut down by Bo. Bo allowed him to get the disc occasionally. To be honest, in the second half, it wasn't Lloyd, because I thought Bo did a pretty good job on him defensively. Lloyd only was involved in a couple points in the second half. It was more so the other guys, Derek Alexander, Carl Loiseau, Scotty Nichols, Toli Vasiliev, Jeff Lindquist, Adrian Yearwood, Bomber Powell that made the difference. Also Justin Ford, the transplant from London, who was part of the Clapham team that just narrowly missed defeating Revolver in the quarters at Worlds, a 17-16 classic. Revolver went on to win and then beat Bravo in the semis, Sockeye in the finals. Justin Ford coming from Clapham to join Goat trying to win an American title.
No break, no break, no break, no break.
Good battle here, back and forth between Goat and Johnny Bravo.
Straight up, straight up, straight up. You're good.
Johnny Bravo has scored each point first. Goat has tied it each time. Jimmy Nickel along the sideline to keep it alive for Johnny Bravo. That one back and a sliding grab made by Bart Watson, veteran on this Denver squad.
Played for Denver, then he went to the Bay Area, now he's back in Denver. He's got a cool job. He works for the National Brewers Association. His job, along with Ryan Farrell, it's all about beer. Sounds like fun, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Vasiliev hand blocks Brody Smith.
Big play there. Anatoly Vasiliev knocking it away for Brody Smith.
Brody just sort of telegraphed that throw. And he'll watch that replay and be the first to tell you that. He didn't pivot, he telegraphed it. Vasiliev was there.
This one batted into the air and caught by Jimmy Nickel.
Gibson deflected it upward. Two Goat targets were nearby, and it's Nickel of all people who comes down with the disc.
Now Bart Watson kicks it up ahead. Great effort on the layout.
Remy Ojo's ridiculous.
Ojo couldn't get that one, but now it falls into the arms of Owen Westbrook. And a score for Johnny Bravo.
Ojo didn't come up with that one, but he has had a plethora of layouts just like that have been successful. An outrageous amount of athleticism throwing his body around, but Keegan from truck stop last year to Bravo this year to the always reliable Owen Westbrook. Another guy on Bravo that's not talked about very much, but Westbrook out of Williams College, grew up in Marlborough, Massachusetts. He has gone to the Rocky Mountains and become a very steady contributor to this team that's just so chock full of talent.
He's on the board tonight as Johnny Bravo goes ahead 4-3 with that shot. They've had a one-goal lead on each score. Only to see Goat come back and tie it up right away. Goat will get it here off the pull as Johnny Bravo continues to find these talented players to put on their roster. It seems like no matter what region you are, we've seen the West Coast teams, especially in the men's division, get knocked out of this tournament early. You can find talent pretty much anywhere.
As Bravo realized over the course of the season, it's not just about talent. Bravo, the 5th seed coming into nationals, can only qualify the regular season, is somewhat disappointing, but you know, as someone on another team said to me, Bravos was put together to win nationals, and that's really the only tournament they care about. They would have liked to win Worlds too, but losing a Revolver in the semis is not a massive disappointment. I think at Pro Fly, when they didn't win a game on Sunday out at ECC, that was probably most disappointing, but they rallied back at regionals, won an epic game over double wide on double game point. Nickel receiving the huck from Brody. The decision, by the way, head coach Bob Pryor wasn't all that thrilled about, but it worked out. Revolver and Sakai both out. I think Bravo has got to be considered the favorite. This is Bravo's tournament to lose. Both certainly capable. Boston Ironside, a great team, but Bravo handled them in pool play.
Observer stepping in as a stoppage occurs. Toronto Goat. Go ahead, logo. I don't know what those letters mean. G-O-A-T.
What do you think it means?
Greatest of all time.
I think that's what it's become. I think it started as Greater Ottawa and Toronto, but I like yours better. Oh my.
That's not so great there.
No.
Disc that goes straight to the ground. This could be the break that Johnny Bravo was looking for.
Brett Matsuka will pick up.
along the sideline. That's Matsuka.
Lance to Matsuka, the hammer. Got
And
it.
it finds its target. A catch made by Matty Farrell. And Johnny Bravo's got its biggest lead so far, up 2.
Matty Farrell, the younger brother of the Bravo captain, Ryan Farrell. Lance to Matsuka. Brett Matsuka's played Ultimate all around the world. A really, really smart dude. He's about to take a job in Kansas City as a professor at a hospital, basically doing all sorts of mathematical equations. I think Brett Matsuka's a genius, and not because he has a really good hammer. That's a incidental aspect of his intelligence. I'm interested to see what Matsuka does next year. You know, Prairie Fire, the team from Kansas City, showed up here at Nationals for the first time. And what did they do in their first game? Knocked off Double Y. Played a great first half against Revolver, 8-7. And Revolver overpowered him in full play. But, you know, it's always fun. I said to a bunch of people this weekend, it's always fun to get to see teams you've never seen before. And personally, I had not seen Prairie Fire play in person. They got some players. And they're going to be back. And maybe they'll have Brett Matsuka next year if he wants to play for the local team and not do quite as much traveling.
Matsuka getting the assist to Matty Farrell as Johnny Bravo's up 2.
And you know, the reason I say it, this is Bravo's tournament to lose. 1, Revolver, Sockeye, Machine are all eliminated. And 2, they're always going to be talented, but they're probably never going to be this talented again. And there are too many guys that are transplants. Kurt, Brody, Matsuka. And Bart Watson's getting older. Josh Ackley's getting older.
On the huck, a chance for Goat. And leaping toward the goal line after the catch was made. A great effort by Justin Ford. Now Ford trying to dump it into the end zone and does. As Thompson McKnight gets the goal for Goat.
Oh, that trusty lefty backhand. First we see the big backhand huck. And Ford, the Brit, runs it down, beating Will Lockey deep. Lockey dropped off, but McKnight, typically a handler, able to find space and just a little whoop, little lefty backhand to space.
Defense not ready for that. You see Ford setting up with the right hand at first. He makes that switch. Certainly able to throw off a defense when you're not expecting the other hand to be used.
Now, how did Justin Ford come to play for Goat? I think it's just he developed relationships with a lot of the Canadian national team guys like Lloyd, and Yearwood, and Harris, and Massick Kelly. And, you know, Ultimate's a sport where even fiercest of rivals can become friends. Goat had an open spot on the roster. They were having some conversations. Certainly a nice pickup. He actually played for Goat 2 years ago. Did not play last year. This is his second year on the team, spanning 3 seasons.
First to 8 sends this game to halftime. First to 15 goes on to play Boston Ironside. The championship game tomorrow. Bravo with possession. Nickel swings it back. Now they move it forward as Johnny Bravo works with the lead. They've had the lead throughout. They've not trailed yet. And a few ties, but no leads for Goat.
Carroll still doing all he can to chase Nickel. Great matchup in the backfield. Now Bart Watson making a cut with Vasiliev trailing. Vasiliev, one of the top handler defenders.
Traffic there, but he finds his target. As Kurt Gibson's got it. Gibson around contact from Jeff Powell. Now Jimmy Mickle swings it to the far side of the field. Over the corner as Jackson Clore's got it. Clore trying to dump it back. A red zone turnover from Johnny Bravo.
And Farrell wasn't expecting it. The throw before that by Mickle. A dangerous throw delivered with such authority. Goat takes a timeout here with Vasiliev picking up, but surprised Farrell didn't try to lay up for that.
Goat now out of timeouts in this first half. As we take a look at the men's division and the Final Four. The incredible semifinal we saw earlier with Ironside on Universe Point, defeating Raleigh Ring of Fire. Championship game at 5 Eastern tomorrow, with Ironside up against the winner of this one. So far, it's been Johnny Bravo controlling this game, but Goat staying with them, as we saw Raleigh do in the first half of that game before Ironside started to pull away a little bit in the second half.
If by some chance you're with us now and you missed that Boston-Raleigh game, when this one ends, go back to watch ESPN.com and tune in. You won't be sorry. One of the great games I've ever seen. Yeah, you know the score, but you don't know how it transpired. Raleigh's comeback from 11-6 down to bring it to Universe Point was epic. And the final point took over 20 minutes. Numerous controversial stoppages. All things said, I said it during the point, I thought the spirit overall during the point stayed at a pretty respectable level, which says a lot about both teams. And we talk a lot about North Carolina Ultimate. Boston very intense as well, but I think Boston won the game they deserved to win. Ring certainly had chances. It's a tremendous event. Saturday night Ultimate here at Nationals.
Quite a night it's been here in Frisco. Quite a day with the mixed semifinals. Seattle and Minneapolis will meet in the mixed championship tomorrow. San Francisco Fury in the women's championship against defending title holder DC Scandal. Scandal who knocked off Fury last year to break their string of 7 straight titles. Going up, trying to keep it in bounds, and able to do so. Morgan Hibbert as Goat ties it up again.
Morgan Hibbert, one of the greats in the Furious dynasty. He's gigantic, and this is an easy one. But with Furious George in something of a rebuilding mode, he made the connection with the fellow Canadian stars of the World Games team that went to Columbia. He and Jeff Lindquist really kept in close touch. Furious really young. They're still at Nationals with the bottom seed coming in. And he basically just realized that his window is closing. He's 32. He's at a point in his career where sometimes smaller, quicker guys can flummox him a little bit. He had a lot of trouble staying with Ashland Joy in the revolver game, but in the right matchup, in the right situation, you put him in the spot. He certainly delivered in big moments before.
6'4" at age 32, Morgan Hibbert. It's a score for Goat. They've now picked up the last 2 points to draw back to even.
His old team, Furious George, came in as a 16th seed and finished 13th.
Beautiful night here in Frisco for this USA Ultimate event. As this national championship tournament unfolds. Looking forward to the final games tomorrow. Great day of semifinal action here today. This tournament a little different from the ones earlier on the Triple Crown Tour, where quarterfinal games were played on the same day as the semifinals. The semifinal matchups have been standalone today, as will the finals be tomorrow. Probably limits fatigue a little bit at that final day. There's such a long break between the end of the quarterfinals and the start of the semis. Still just a couple of hours. They're working around the cup as he gets rid of it. Now Johnny Bravo trying to work that field as a down member of Johnny Bravo team at the 50-yard line.
And Sean Keegan got tied up with Remy Ojo. Appears to be all right. He's already back on his feet.
First team to 8 sends this one to halftime. These two teams expected to score a lot of goals, and the offenses have certainly done that early on. They've traded glances early on. Ryan Farrell, now a swing pass out to the far end zone, and it's run down by Kirk Gibson for the goal. Just a laser headed Gibson's way. Johnny Bravo's done that a couple of times already. 2 goals for Gibson.
You know, in the conversation of who's the fastest guy in Ultimate, Kirk Gibson's name is hardly ever mentioned. And I'm not saying he's faster than Bo. But even now, at 27 years old, just entering his prime, despite injuries and colon cancer, he still has breakaway speed that's probably in the top 10 of anybody in the sport.
Nobody even in the picture as Gibson tracked that one down from Jimmy Mickle. The combination has done that exact same play twice in this game. Johnny Bravo back out in front. They've not trailed yet. Gibson has 3 goals overall tonight. Now Goat will have to try to work back into a tie as they continue to fall behind, but not for very long in this game. Bravo, at the very least, they have to be happy with what they've gotten offensively in this one.
And Bravo's offense has been very, very smooth.
Now Goat will bring it out after Alexander catches the pull. It's Cam Harris. Slings it ahead. Now Mark Lloyd. Lloyd floats it up into traffic. There was some contact as Lindquist went up for it with Craig Forshee. Looks like the foul will be upheld as Lindquist grabs the disc, and Goat will keep possession. Lindquist looking to dump it back. Mark Lloyd goes up to get it. Alexander swings it ahead. Boisseau's got a goal tonight. Goat tries to work it upfield. Foul here as the observers stop the play. Approaching halftime, first team to 8. Gets it to halftime, first team to 15. Playing the finals tomorrow against Boston Ironside.
Right now we're on serve in this first half. Both teams have turned it over 4 times. Goat scores here. We'll be back even.
Tied at almost every score except for 4-4. Johnny Bravo to brief 2-goal lead. Goat made it 5-5. That's Cam Harris.
One of the things I like about Goat is, there have been times in the past when they haven't been able to put all their talent together, but I knew they were not going to be overwhelmed by this moment. Against all the talent Bravo has, under the lights, big crowd, championship game, berth on the line. Denver's played pretty well, and so is Toronto in this game.
Scooper it out to the sideline. They do.
Alexander had trouble shaking Lance. Now the scooper to the end zone.
Alexander with his toes in bounds as Goat is able to tie this game, just a give and go. And it was pulled down by Jeff Lindquist in the end zone.
The injury that Lindquist had at regionals, it was a punctured lung. It was scary. And then, his back tightened up, and for a time he just couldn't throw the disc. Scott Hasty, the Toronto coach, was raving last night about their team trainer, Kevin, who has just done wonders, he said, to keep them healthy. Mark Lloyd has dealt with some nagging injuries, lower body injury, but Lloyd still looked good, and so does Lindquist.
Alexander to Lindquist there, and Goat once again has tied this thing. We've had ties of 1-1, 2-2, 3-3, 5-5, and 6-6. All 6 goals from Goat have come from different scorers, including Lindquist here. So back to even it goes.
So there's a long way to go in this game. I'm already angrily anticipating the soft cap, which is more than half an hour away. But we're probably going to get there.
Most certainly, we're at 10-minute halftime.
And here's my off-the-cuff idea. I think the hard cap in nationals should be eliminated completely. I think the soft cap should continue to exist, but in elimination play, it should be after maybe 2 hours or, 2 1/4. When there's no next game, you got to get involved, and there's no schedule you need to keep. Let the game do everything it can to get to 15, and if it's a really windy day, it's a brutally, painfully windy day, and the score is still 7-5 after 2 hours, then you put the soft cap on and play it enough.
Jimmy Mickle's going to let one rip again. Mickle's already connected a few times, and he does again, this time to Keegan. Keegan floats into the end zone for the score. Finished off by Kurt Gibson, who has 4 goals tonight. And Johnny Bravo back on top.
Another powerful put from Mickle. And it's almost like Kurt doesn't have a defender on him in the end zone. Trailing the play. They tried to switch. Powell took the mark, but the other GOAT defender, Trevor Henry, couldn't drop off quickly enough. Not even close.
Now Johnny Bravo right on the brink of halftime. Take another look at Kurt Gibson's 4th goal of the night. The leaders of this Johnny Bravo team, a team that, as you mentioned, is built for these moments, this tournament. Trying to win a national championship for the first time. So is GOAT.
After Kurt Gibson recovered from cancer, he's become such a huge spokesman and awareness raiser for the organization. Eric, early recognition is critical. There's an Eric tent over near the main tents here, and the number of people I saw wearing Eric hats and Eric jerseys was unbelievable. It was pretty impressive.
Johnny Bravo's offense has been impressive in this first half, largely because of Gibson. Jimmy Mickle on the other end as well. GOAT has certainly kept it close. We've tied it a handful of times as we take a look at so many years ago in 1981 Rose Bowl, Santa Barbara Condors.
And that's a good layout.
What a hammer, even back then. Ugh.
This was 33 years ago now.
Yeah. Great moments in Ultimate in its early stages.
Condor is still a strong team, just missed nationals this year, but Santa Barbara Ultimate scene really strong. They'll be back. Multiple times a champion at USA Ultimate for that UPA Nationals.
They won a bunch of them early on, especially in those early days of Ultimate. They were the top team. Scott will put it back into play here. Down by 1. They huck it deep.
Looking for Lloyd.
Mark Lloyd on the run toward the end zone with
Peterson.
the floating disc. And Lloyd is able to have it for a moment, but Peterson knocked it away.
I think Bravo. If Mark Lloyd's going deep, I'm not sure there's a defender they'd rather have on him than Stanley Peterson, who has just made play after play. And again, Peterson, who was the one who got it first.
Yeah, it was actually Peterson the one who had possession for a moment, not Lloyd.
Wearing a Mama Bird jersey, he made a couple catches like this in the game against Bravo. He had one of the most amazing Ds I've ever seen, angling his body over 2 other players. You know, it wasn't quite like Bo Kittredge jumping over a guy back in the mid-2000s at Southwest Regionals, but it was close because he jumped over 2 guys, angling his body to come up with a D. Stanley Peterson has silly athleticism.
So now Johnny Bravo can send this game to halftime. Jimmy Mickle Looking to fling it deep. Looking for Stanley Peterson. And it's caught, but not by Peterson. Conker with the catch near the goal line. And there's Peterson for the halftime point. Johnny Bravo matches its biggest lead of the half on the final play of the half as they take an 8-6 lead over Goat.
It's a one-break lead at the break on the Stanley Peterson point. Bookends for Peterson as Conker came down with it. And just not enough defenders back to make the play.
Great catch by Conker between two Goat defenders, and a disc not even intended for him.
And if Conker doesn't make that catch, that's a foul on Lloyd. And interesting to note, Mark Lloyd, who had 5 goals in the first half against Revolver on this field yesterday, has not found the end zone yet for Goat today. He's had some assists, but he has not found the end zone himself, and his team down a break at the break.
Johnny Bravo with an 8-6 lead. As we take a look at our Discraft Ultrastar play of the half. Very solid first half for the Johnny Bravo offense. But it's Goat. That shows us our very first Ultrastar play of the half on this great toss and an easy catch on the other end. It's Carl Wasso who pulled down that long puck. One of many points for Goat in the first half, but down by 2 as we bring in head coach of Johnny Bravo, Bob Cryer. And Coach, Mickle to Gibson looked pretty good in that first half.
Yeah, we put those two together to be a dynamic pair downfield, and they're showing you guys why we did it.
Obviously, these guys have a lot of firepower. What was the thinking in terms of matching up defensively the way you did?
We've got a couple of great defenders. Stanley Peterson is just phenomenal, as you just saw. We wanted to put him on Link or on Lloyd. Those two players make most of their deep plays, and if we can keep them from making the big plays and force someone else to be huge, that's a win for us, and we'll trust, the next level of defenders.
Offensively, have you liked what you've seen overall?
I do. I think it's a very tight game. Both defenses are not giving up any free resets. All of the undercuts are covered, but we're playing very composed. We're hitting the right throws, and when the deep looks are opening up, we're taking them.
Bob, I know you're locked in right now, and you were getting ready for this game. Were you able to appreciate the intensity of the first semifinal tonight? Did you see how that one ended?
We did. We got to get into the stadium a little early, so we got to see the final, the double game point finish, and a lot of guys that I know out there from the U23 team that were fighting all game, and it was a great battle.
Coach, thanks a lot. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
It's an 8-6 lead for Johnny Bravo as they're up on Goat. It's halftime in this second men's semifinal. The winner moves on to play Boston Ironside. The 2014 USA Ultimate Championships are brought to you by Discraft Ultrastar, the official disc of USA Ultimate. Ask your retailer today about Discraft Ultrastar. Triple Crown Tour, America's most competitive and prestigious series of ultimate tournaments. And by USA Ultimate, the national governing body of the sport of ultimate in the United States. To learn more about USA Ultimate or to find out where to play in your area, visit usaultimate.org. Time here in Frisco, Texas for this USA Ultimate Men's National Championship semifinal. 8-6 lead for Johnny Bravo up on Goat as we bring in the head coach of the Toronto squad, Scott Hasty. And coach, your team battled in that first half but down by 2, so now what do you think the second half needs to look like for your team to come back?
Well, certainly it was quite a battle. Both teams were putting a lot of pressure on D, and I was really happy with the pressure that we got. We got some turns, got the one. One at the end hurt a little bit. That was a throw with a perfect throw. That's a goal. Hung it a little bit, gave the crowd what they wanted to see, that matchup, but unfortunately allowed the Bravo player to catch up and make a play on the disc. We battled. We're ready to go. We get the disc back. We're still within one. It's a battle all the way. So I know that they weren't expecting it to be this close. That's for sure. We are about to bring the rest of the hammer that we have.
Shooter, I know you came into this game with high hopes. What have you seen from how they've matched up with your top players? Mark Lloyd certainly made an impact, but he didn't get in the end zone himself.
Yeah, I think they're backing lots of guys, and we're not fighting through it. So Mark knows that he's going to get lots of unders. He's getting those unders, and we just have to encourage the rest of the guys to strike a little bit more so we can use those big throws of pace.
You think you'll catch your breath at any point during the second half?
No, I think it's going to be a battle right to the end. This is two good teams. The defenses of both teams are really putting a lot of pressure on. So we've got to rise up, and we've got to get a stop. And that's the only way we're going to get back into it. Stop and score.
It's fun to watch. Hope you enjoy it a little bit.
Yeah, always. It's great times.
All right, Coach, thanks a lot.
Okay, bye-bye.
Scott Hasty, the head coach of Toronto Goat. They find themselves down by a couple. And Evan, you mentioned in the first half how the soft cap will probably come into play in the second half, with the clock running even through halftime. Looking at under 25 minutes before that soft cap goes up. So to get this game to 15 seems pretty unlikely.
It's going to be close. You know, could Denver score 5 points in the next 25 minutes? No question. So it comes down to how good the defenses are. It's not a huge factor right now. You know, it's funny that I was thinking about it earlier this week. You know, oftentimes people like to say that wind is a great equalizer and ultimate. And I think at the lower levels that might be true. But I think at this level, wind can be a separating factor. It allows the teams with the best throws to take advantage of the other team that may not have as tight throws in the wind. So I think the fact that it's not windy and has helped enable Goat to stick around.
First half, a very good one for Kirk Gibson. He had 4 goals. Jimmy Mickle, Sean Keegan each had 2 assists. Keegan also had a goal. 6 Goat scorers there as well, along with a couple of assists from Derek Alexander. As we take a look at some first half highlights, and it's Johnny Bravo with a score. The Goat would score. It was back and forth for quite a while.
It really was. Kirk Gibson found the end zone a bunch. Was using his speed near the goal line. And Jimmy Mickle has unleashed a couple of these majestic flick-ucks. Mickle to Gibson. That's a tremendous duo to try to stop. Farrell dump to Watson. Cut to the front cone for Keegan. At the other end, Alexander to Masik Kelly. And then Lloyd unleashing. Toronto can shoot the ball deep too. A backhand look this time. And another easy score there. In the second half, just underway. Goat receiving, down by 1 break. Down by 2 on the scoreboard.
8-6 the score in favor of Johnny Bravo. As Goat did come back to tie it 5 different times in the first half, but the lead never changed. It's Johnny Bravo every time there's been someone in front. The 2-goal lead is tied with their biggest so far. Goat trying to answer first to start this second half. That's Derek Alexander. Gets it up to Masik Kelly. Masik Kelly had a goal in the first half for Toronto. Now Jeff Lindquist, who also had one. Goat had no problem getting in the end zone in the first half. They just had a problem stopping Johnny Bravo.
Push pass.
And it's in there for a score. Caught by Thompson McKnight, his second goal. Beauty there on the edge of the goal line.
And some teams can forget about McKnight. He can lull you to sleep just by staying as the back handler. And then when he makes that cut up line, Mark Lloyd was trying to make the same cut, chased by Craig Forsheet. McKnight typically distributing in the end zone for the second time himself. And when it comes down to it, the goals and the assist, who gets them, it really doesn't matter a whole bunch. Sometimes you find a meaningful storyline in it. really should do a better job keeping track of plus minus. But even that, with players only playing 0 points, getting the disc, that would be misleading as well.
You've been a proponent for the hockey style assist.
Sure. You know, the folks from Toronto are very big proponents of both the plus minus and the hockey style assist because they do love their hockey up north. Mark Lloyd was a hockey player growing up. He was 5'4", 5'5" early in his high school career. And then he stopped playing hockey because everybody was so much bigger than him. He focused on ultimate, and then he grew to 6'2", and started to use his handler quickness with his size and athleticism, and he's grown into one of the top players in the world.
Got to find a way to get those guys the Stanley Cup again. Canada's not had it for quite a long time. Instead of being their sport.
You ever been to the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto? Went up there this past July and got to visit the Hall of Fame. Really cool to be in the room with the Stanley Cup, and not just the cup, but all the other trophies, the Hart, Vezina, President's Cup, the Conn Smythe, the Lady Byng. Really cool room in the Toronto Hockey Hall of Fame.
Serious collision there near midfield as the injured player for GOAT is Jeff Powell. Scary situation with the head of Powell going into the upper thigh of that cutting Johnny Bravo player, Sean Keegan.
Again, what was that non-contact sport? The thing about there's no contact in Ultimate? Guys throw their bodies around. I don't know if Powell called a foul.
Certainly see plenty of contact today in all of the games we've covered here in Frisco. As Powell will come off the field at the very least just to take some precaution after that collision. His head getting hit there on the thigh of Keegan.
No foul.
No foul. Johnny Bravo with a 1-goal lead. Observers still sorting things out here as that clock toward the soft cap continues to run inside of 20 minutes now. Which will cap the score probably at something under than 15. At the moment, first to 15 wins. And plays Boston Ironside in the championship game tomorrow.
Looks like a technical foul was just issued to somebody.
Imagine that somebody would have to be Keegan, but I'm not sure why that would be.
You have time to set up this red dot right here, guys.
So they'll play it at the brick mark.
Language.
Excessive language for Johnny Bravo, and that's going to give GOAT great field position. Call this the reverse brick.
Yeah, I think the guy that was running off.
The team that's on offense.
Something you don't see very often in this game.
Really don't. Gives them a chance to set up their stack the exact way they want it. Gives Bravo a chance to set up defensively as well, of course. But Vasiliev marked by Farrell.
GOAT with a chance to tie this game again. They're down by 2 entering this second half. Vasiliev gets it back. Cut there by Carroll. Vasiliev goes to the hammer and a tie game. Jonathan Martin with the goal. And the first 2 points in the second half belong to Toronto.
An ambitious hammer. He threw it the only way he could. Not a lot of float. Needed to blade this one in there, but Martin able to attack it in space with a stall count rising. He beat Mickle to the disc.
Great throw by Vasiliev.
Yeah, that's why playing defense is so tough. Because the stall count can be 8. And there's still going to be some open space on the field. Jonathan Martin has played with Anatoly Vasiliev for quite a while. He knows that late in the stall count, that might be coming. And they're sort of mentally on the same wavelength.
Jonathan Martin, the 7th different GOAT player to score. Now back to even. We've seen 6 different ties in this game, but yet no lead changes every time GOAT has tied it. Johnny Bravo has scored the next point. Well, if GOAT can break that streak here, it'll get much more interesting for them as they try to make it as a 10 seed in the national championship game against Boston Ironside tomorrow.
Interesting to see who Bravo has in this offensive line after the break. Brody Smith, Jimmy Mickle, Kurt Gibson, Bart Watson, Ryan Farrell. Out there with Tim Morrissey and Jackson Clore.
Johnny Bravo starts the possession with Bart Watson. Now Gibson with 4 goals in the first half to Mickle. Mickle slims it ahead. That's Jackson Clore.
Mickle had Brody Smith streaking deep. Would have been exciting if he threw it. Probably a wise decision to hang on, though. Pick the more sure thing, although this is not a sure thing, but Gibson's going to get there.
It's been a pretty sure thing today as Mickle to Gibson has worked a few times on a very similar pass. 5th goal tonight for Kurt Gibson.
What a put. You know, that was a break, first of all. He got it around Ojo and put it high enough, but also with enough angle that it probably broke about 25 yards in the air and came down quickly enough that the defense couldn't get there. Very little float on that shot from Mickle. That's not really anything you can teach. I mean, that's practice over and over again, trying to just throw the disc deep at all sorts of different angles, judging the wind, judging the angle of your release point. Jimmy Mickle has spent countless hours throwing the disc ever since he started playing in high school outside of Denver. And he's also got a lot of natural talent to go with all that practice.
Johnny Bravo has the lead again. Each time GOAT has tied the game, 6 different occasions. The next point has gone to Denver, and Kurt Gibson with 5 goals tonight to help lead this Johnny Bravo offense. Now it goes back to GOAT after the pull. And Toronto once again finding themselves needing a point to tie. Isaiah Kelly. Call here from the observers. Cam Harris sorts it out quickly with Ian Toner.
Ian Toner, another guy like Brett Matsuka, who played for Ring last year. Also on the U23 team.
On the flick hook. Good D by Stanley Peterson. He has gone toe-to-toe with Mark Lloyd tonight.
Not just good D, great D. And Lloyd changed his route because of who was guarding him, and that's when you know the defender's in your head. Mark Lloyd still thought he should have made that grab, but he attacked it quicker because he knew of the explosiveness of Peterson. It was not a terrible throw from McKnight. Maybe a little more float, a little more deep shot.
Jack McShane taking a shot deep. Looking for Conker, and Conker's got it. He is not in the end zone, or is he? He is. Took a while to figure it out, but Conker gets the goal. And Johnny Bravo once again back up by 2.
Jack McShane, another guy who's not talked about enough. Lance, and then the deep shot from Jack McShane, who's in his 3rd year as a captain. Played tennis and ultimate in high school. He's coached the Colorado women's team for the last few years, and Jack McShane leads Bravo to a big break from 8-6 to 8-all to 10-8. Bravo 5 away.
That's how this game has really gone, where GOAT's falling behind each time. By as many as 2. This is the 3rd 2-goal lead for Johnny Bravo. Henry Conker getting his first goal tonight. But as it continues, Denver has never trailed in this game. For Goat, I mean, how frustrating can that be when they've done everything they can to stay even, only to never take the lead at any point?
Well, you know, that's a play they've relied on all season long. Shoot it deep to Mark Lloyd. He had a couple steps on Peterson, too. But Thompson's put maybe slightly underthrown. And when Stanley Peterson's defending, it may not be a great decision because he's establishing himself in the biggest games to be a big play guy on the defensive side of the disc.
So the pull goes out of bounds. Goat will play it from the brick mark. As McKnight starts the possession, and they go right back to the end zone. This time a wide open man on the end of the end zone. Is he inbounds? It doesn't matter, as Kelly did not make the catch.
As soon as that throw left Lloyd's hands, I thought it might be going too far. Kelly nearly a great catch, but he was out of bounds.
He's trying to look down at his toes. The reason why he didn't catch it.
It's really tough to do.
Now Johnny Bravo in position to do something they haven't done. They turn it over immediately. Trying to go up by 3 for the first time. Will Lockey couldn't handle the first pass of the possession. A gift for Goat.
Big swing from McKnight.
Goat trying to set up their offense. Alexander to Lindquist. Swings it out. McKnight with the give to Lasso.
Great handler defense from Tim Morrissey, and then he got beat up line.
As it turns out, another goal for Goat. As they answer after the turnover, Jonathan Martin for the second time in this second half. Actually, it's Adrian Yearwood who scores for the first time for Goat.
Lindquist, no hesitation over the top. Sometimes you can't beat a team with the more conventional throws.
Now about 9 minutes from that soft cap. As these two teams continue to trade goals, Lindquist with 3 assists now for Goat. See, Gibson's just had a huge night for Johnny Bravo. Tied several times, but at no point has Toronto been in the lead, kind of similar to the last semifinal where we saw Raleigh stick close with Boston Ironside, tied it several times and never led, and forcing all the way to Universe Point.
In numerous instances in that Universe Point, you had to think that Ring was going to take its first lead of the game to win it, 13-12. They were a couple turnovers aside on that Universe Point.
Might be a similar situation here.
Bravo still has the 1 break advantage.
Turn it over on their last possession deep in their own territory. This one finds Ryan Morgan. And Morgan juggles it, but is able to hang on.
There's a stoppage here, and they're going to get this sorted out. You're not allowed to throw it to yourself, obviously, but that's not what he did. He fumbled the disc in his hands and then recovered. As long as the disc doesn't hit the ground, you know, I think this stays with Bravo and Morgan gets to keep it.
And Morgan, as he was
Although,
faking the flip.
Unless they say the continuation and they're going to give Powell the D, which I think they are.
That's the case. Goats right here on the goal line with a chance to tie again. So after Morgan nearly lost the disc, he flipped it backward while sitting on the ground. At that point, it was knocked away. That's what counts. And here's Goat with a chance to make it 10 even. And a lane to throw to Remy Ojo, who ties it up for Goat.
Big swing over to Hibbert. Ojo making the horizontal cut across the goal line. Toronto's not going away, Wayne.
Very similar to what we saw earlier in the first men's semifinal, a back-and-forth game that really involved a lot of ties, but never a lead change.
Breaks aplenty in this half, though, from 8-6. Toronto scored 2. Bravo answered, scoring 2, and then Goat, the last 2.
Johnny Bravo has seen 3 different 2-goal leads disappear. 6 minutes now from the soft cap. Denver about to get it back.
Bravo's offensive line here with Brody Smith, Jimmy Mickle, Kurt Gibson, Bart Watson, Ryan Farrell, Sean Keegan out there as well. And I believe Jackson Ford.
Right now it's game to 15, and the winner moving on to face Boston Ironside tomorrow.
Out there for Goat, it's Vasilia, Powell, Ojo, Martin, Hibbert.
Swing it upfield to Keegan.
Carroll out there too. He's been chasing Jimmy Mickle most of the night. Carroll now guarding Farrell, who now has the disc.
Farrell looking to give it back to Gibson, who has 5 goals tonight. Half of the output from Johnny Bravo. That's Jimmy Mickle. Flip it back. Art Watson's got it now. Sliding catch along the sideline to keep it alive for Johnny Bravo. Trying to break another tie. They've never trailed. Each time Goat has tied the game, which is now 7 times. Johnny Bravo has come back for the next point. Soft cap will become a reality in the next 4.5 minutes. This game will not go to 15.
To be honest with you, Wayne, wait after this.
Swing it deep. Can Mickle track it? A diving catch right before the goal line, and the flip is good to Kurt Gibson. His 6th goal tonight to put Johnny Bravo back on top.
Jimmy Mickle's incredible. The closing speed and the wherewithal to take that one extra step before the layout, launching himself from low to the ground, launching from that right foot. That's a really fun skid after you make that play. Gibson right there again. I was going to say, you know, I expected Johnny Bravo to win this game. Certainly think Toronto is capable. Thinking about the ramifications if Goat does win it, then tomorrow it's a rematch of the Northeast Region Final, which, you know, Boston has won forever, except last year when Goat knocked him off. Boston got its revenge this year. I mean, that would be a very compelling game. Ironside Bravo would be great too.
Possibility for whoever wins tomorrow to be a national champion for the very first time. On the pole, Goat will get it back, needing to tie it again for an 8th time tonight. They have not trailed by any more than 2. They've been down by 2 3 times. Masson Kelly up ahead of Mark Lloyd. Lloyd's been fairly quiet tonight.
Stanley Peterson has kept him quiet. The offensive line here, Cameron Harris, Thompson McKnight, Derek Alexander, Mark Lloyd, Scotty Nichols. Oh, that's a desperation scuba, and it works.
falls in, and a point comes right after as Scotty Nichols secures it for Goat to retie the game.
Jeff Lindquist, with a stall count rising, just throws it to space, and this is knowing your teammates. Masick Kelly with size gives him a chance to catch a 50-50 disc, which really isn't a 50-50 disc because he threw it intelligently. Certainly not how shooter Hasty drew it up, but at the same time, they talk about those situations and how to make something out of nothing. The best teams make something out of nothing a lot.
8th different tie score in this game. Again, there's not been a lead change. Johnny Bravo's the only team that's led tonight, but Goat has stayed right on them. This pull goes to Johnny Bravo a minute before the soft cap horn goes off.
That's Evan Phillips, longtime player and coach. They call him Dime. That was Phillips to the right, Scotty Nichols.
The soft cap clock down to 42 seconds and counting.
This is likely going to be a game to 14 unless there's a goal in the next 30 seconds.
Certainly possible. As Johnny Bravo works it around to the sideline, and now with that stoppage of play, this will be a game to 14.
For Goat, 10 different players have scored. Thompson McKnight, the only member of the herd with multiple trips to the end zone.
That's the soft cap clock.
And officially, after this point, you add 2 to the highest score. That's the new destination. It will be a game to 14 to decide who meets Ironside tomorrow afternoon for a championship.
Now the hard cap clock begins, a 20-minute countdown to the end. And a flick huck. Looking for Kirk Gibson again. It floats. And it goes behind Gibson to Sean Keegan for the goal.
Again, that's not how Brody Smith drew this one up. He wanted the Gator connection. From the right side of from the left side of your screen, you see Keegan stay with the play. Cleans up the trash. Bravo by 1.
Regardless of what's happened here tonight, Johnny Bravo continues to find ways to stay in front. And they're back in the lead again. Needing 2 more to advance to the championship here tomorrow against Boston Ironside. A terrific duo of semifinal games we have seen in the men's division. Incredible win from Boston Ironside. 13-12 on Universe Point to beat Raleigh Ring of Fire. Now back and forth this one goes. Not really back and forth, but
I think it qualifies for back and forth.
I mean, it's
got a lot of ties.
Seesaw hasn't quite gotten to Goat's side yet, but it's been in the middle a lot.
Bravo has gotten a break here and there. Goat has retaliated.
Now Goat with possession again, trying to tie this one up for a 9th time.
Masick Kelly, Lindquist, Harris, Lloyd, Nichols out there with McKnight and Alexander.
I think Goat hasn't done it in quite some time. They have not turned it over. Backed up into their own end zone here. Mark Lloyd tries to get it out.
Junky look here from Johnny Bravo. Brett Matsuka playing the role of the rabbit, chasing the disc.
Out of the end zone, but not very far in front of it.
Now they yell fire and they go man. Certainly flummoxed him a little. Looking deep for Cameron Harris. Conker chasing. Peterson 2.
And it's Peterson at the top to knock that one away. The only question now is, will there be a foul? At the top of his leap, it was Peterson who made contact with the disc. Officially knocking it away from Harris.
Look at that freeze frame. Stanley Peterson is too high. Is he human? Now, he may have fouled Harris on the back. He may have fouled him on the back.
That was an incredible lead. His hang time is surreal.
It really is.
All right.
Harris is pleading his case in the end zone. Conquer
So you're
there.
calling foul on him versus him. All right. So calling foul. Unfortunately, I did not see that. I saw the other. So we're gonna have to play this contested. And we're gonna have to
Going back.
Harris called the foul on Conquer, not Peterson.
So Will State goes disc. That's probably a reasonable outcome. I'm not sure Harris was going to make that catch in between those two defenders.
Because he called the foul against Conquer, not Peterson, they don't get it at the goal line.
Let me tell you, if Justin Allen became the star in the first game for Ring, Stanley Peterson, while he already made some outrageous plays in college nationals and at the U.S. Open, I mean, he's at a different level. He really is.
Goat keeps possession after that foul. Chance to restart their offense. Getting a point once again to tie this game.
Looking for Harris again.
Conquer's there again.
Matsuka this time, and Conquer takes care of business himself.
Henry Conquer in the end zone. Harris never really got close, and now Johnny Bravo 2 points away from victory. Could get one here.
Bravo has 2 timeouts it could use. Taking advantage of the poach to reset.
Their defensive line on the field to play offense instead. Maybe they feel like their defense is a better offense than Goat's offense is a good defense. Does that make sense?
My mind has been tangled by that magnificent web of words. You know, at this stage, USA Ultimate does not allow substitutions unless there's an injury or a score. There's been talk in some simulations in some smaller tournaments. You know, if you call a timeout, should you be able to sub and get your offensive guys in there? It's an interesting debate. It makes it interesting, especially because it adds more strategy into when you use your timeouts. You only have a limited amount to make subs with. Moment though, that's not the way the game's played.
I feel like if they sent Stanley Peterson deep here, he could probably catch whatever they throw. There's Peterson, another leaping grab.
Lloyd was forcing him in.
Now a hammer toss from Peterson finds his target. Peterson really can do everything. That's for the end zone here. Now it's up to Matsuka to try to find him. Peterson comes back to grab it in front of Lloyd, and now Lloyd, at the end of that play, fell on top of Peterson's ankle, and Peterson's hurt.
Mark Lloyd. It was a heck of an effort on the layout D. And he just caught him on the back right heel. Peterson yelped in pain immediately.
Lloyd trying for the layout. Peterson caught it cleanly, and Peterson's still down.
And I don't think there was anything dirty about that bid by Lloyd. Just unfortunate. Hopefully it's not a long-term thing here. He's just shaken up and he can pop right back up. But you saw that right ankle get caught underneath.
He's got it clipped up near the Achilles. Peterson still down. Johnny Bravo leads this one 12-11. It's a game to 14 after the soft cap went off. Peterson.
The way he's played today, I forgot he was just 21.
Yeah, he's had an incredible game, that's for sure. Another one of the Mama Bird members that's made it to Johnny Bravo. They will help Peterson off the field here. Not able to put any pressure on that right foot. Be a tough loss for Johnny Bravo, not only for the rest of this game, but if they do have a game tomorrow against Ironside. If he's not available, that would be huge.
He's the type of guy that, you know, could take a Danny Clark or an Alex Capinos possibly out of the game for Boston. Although Capinos got shaken up too. Who knows what his status is going to be for tomorrow.
Johnny Bravo will tap this one back in with a chance to go up by 2 once again.
Gibson replaces him, almost threw it away.
Well, that's one way to get an offensive player out there, as Gibson has had a huge night. A timeout is being called.
Not sure what the call was downfield. What's the timeout? They're continuing to play. Worth mentioning, Mark Lloyd was the Farraker nominee, the Spirit Award nominee for Toronto, and now they'll take a timeout. You know, it looks like Mark Lloyd was visibly shaken by Peterson's injury. You know, again, I don't think there was anything dirty about the bid, but Mark Lloyd sort of still standing by himself, his hands on his hips, sort of looking around. What an emotional moment, because, you know, I know Mark Lloyd, you talked to him after the game, he has more respect for what Peterson has done in this game than anybody, because he knows how tough he is to guard. He has his way with pretty much everybody that he goes against, regardless of the level of competition. And yet in this game, Peterson has neutralized it.
After this timeout, I'd imagine Johnny Bravo will insert their regular offense.
If only they could.
They are not allowed to.
They are not allowed to.
Okay. They did put Kurt Gibson in there. They do have one of their top offensive players on their field anyway because of Peterson's injuries. You see the bracket, Ironside's already in. The final tomorrow at 5 Eastern against the winner of this game. On the Toronto side with Peterson out, as soon as you get possession back, you have to try to expose what is now Mark Lloyd an advantage.
Well, Kurt Gibson guarding Mark Lloyd, I'm not sure who has the advantage. I would love to see the deep shot, but I wouldn't say Kurt is a seriously diminished player.
Henry Conker with it now, Matsuka. Johnny Bravo trying to get within a point of the finals. Game to 14 after the soft cap point.
There's a foul, but they play through. Continuation of McShane.
Back it goes to Matsuka in the traffic. McShane again, and there will be a foul call.
It's going to be interesting here because Matsuka clearly has a couple steps. Goat might offer the strike call. Now they're going to send it back to Matsuka, saying the pick happened then. That was a great throw and go by Matsuka. Didn't come to fruition, but he would have been in position to hit a big under or an easy deep shot.
Johnny Bravo with a 1-goal lead. Led by a couple of goals at 3 different points. They've been tied several times, but Goat has never led.
Lance with an impressive hammer to Conker, and now back to McShane.
McShane tangled up there as he got knocked back a bit. See it again, just a little bit of a tangle up. Shane knocked off his pivot foot, so tap it back in with a chance to score.
An important swing. Everything was bunched up on the far side of the field. Now Conker resets in the middle.
Conker gets to Craig Forshe. Kurt Gibson's had such a big night right on the edge of the goal line here. Johnny Bravo trying to go up 2, and more importantly, trying to pull within 1 point of victory.
Felt that lefty backhand coming, but Matsuka not in yet either.
Well, they stopped the play way before that as the player from Goat went down. Harris went down as Forshe knocked into him.
I don't think Matsuka was in the end zone anyway there. He was still on the ground. See on the left side. Looked like Harris may have gotten his foot stepped on. He has the disc and then jumped into the end zone. But now we're back live, and Matsuka needs to lay out about a 20-yard loss, but he keeps possession alive for Bravo.
They work it back around, looking for this point. Nick Lance has it. Flick to Conquer. Now Conquer in front of the goal line. Swing it back to the middle with Matsuka. The handler on this drive with the defensive team out there. Jack McShane looking to work it in, and he does. McShane finds the end zone to Nick Lance. And Johnny Bravo's a point away from victory.
That's the thing about Bravo. You know, Nick Lance is not a guy that we've talked a whole lot about tonight, but his speed is at another level too. And he sensed that he had the angle, and he beat his defender to the space, and McShane saw him. Tremendous patience and poise from Johnny Bravo that trip. In the red zone for quite a while. You know, a few times this game, Bravo has scored quickly, but Goat has really made him work for it. To Bravo's credit, they've done the work.
Timeout has been called before this next pull. In the second semifinal, as Johnny Bravo has never trailed in this one. They've been tied several times. But now the fourth different two-goal lead for Denver. It comes at a big time, needing now just one more goal to advance to the championship game. Boston Ironside awaits the winner. That's tomorrow. Goat's going to need a similar run to what we saw in the first semifinal from Ring of Fire.
Boston and Denver have had some great games in the past. It would be another epic one tomorrow. Both teams with great histories were looking for their first championship in the current incarnations. Ultimate traditionally relying upon the spirit of sportsmanship, which places the responsibility for fair play on the player. Highly competitive play is encouraged, but never at the expense of mutual respect among competitors. Adherence to the agreed upon rules of the game are the basic joys of play. Basically, it's not an eye for an eye. And the rules assume, and the spirit of the game ethos assumes, that you will not intentionally break the rules. If you've been wrong, that doesn't give you the right to wrong somebody else.
We saw as that last semifinal game came down to that universe point. The spirit of the game upheld between both teams, fighting tooth and nail to advance to the championship game. Yearwood tosses it out of the end zone for Goat. They need to make a run here to stay alive.
Yearwood, Lloyd, Lindquist, Harris, Alexander out there too. And Kelly Ford. Excuse me, Wayne.
Goat tries to pull within one once again. Thompson McKnight picks it up ahead to Mark Lloyd. Swing pass out to Yearwood and a stoppage here.
And TMF's going to be dealt here.
That was against Mark Lloyd.
No, I think it's on Bravo.
Whoa. Don't walk. No, this is a TMF. Not technical.
Not sure why Farrell got the TMF. Maybe for a fast count. Overly aggressive mark. Oh, I didn't notice anything egregious.
Well, the team misconduct foul against Johnny Bravo. Now Goat taps it back into play. About 4.5 minutes from the hard cap. Right now it's a game to 14 anyway for Johnny Bravo. Yearwood sticks it up ahead to Alexander. Alexander swings it back out. Lindquist looking for the sideline, and a great catch. A diving effort to keep it alive. And a jump into the end zone. It's a goal for Lindquist. And a necessary score for Goat.
I'm glad they got that one before a turnover, because that takes the hard cap out of the equation. If there was a turnover and say Bravo had taken a timeout, then time would have been ticking away. And if Toronto scored to make it 13-12 and we didn't have another point, I would have walked out of the booth.
And the hard cap could have ended the game with a goal like that one. Johnny Bravo would have default, but a great catch by Lindquist, making sure he got both feet down to the end zone after making the possession. And there's that possession-saving catch, maybe even a game-saving catch by Justin Ford.
We'll see how the teams send out their lines here. I mean, this is do or die time for the GOAT defense. I mean, Nick Lance, Ryan Farrell, Brody Smith, Bart Watson, Kurt Gibson, Jimmy Mickle, and Jackson Clore. And GOAT will counter with Jonathan Martin, Jeff Powell, Mark Lloyd, Toli Vasiliev, Morgan Hibbert. That's been a huge factor in this game. Looks like Derek Alexander's getting a nod on the D-line here as well.
Come on, Johnny White.
And with this pull, it becomes game point for Johnny Bravo. Trying to advance to the national championship game. They will play Boston Ironside tomorrow. They can finish off this last point. Into the hands of Jimmy Mickle. Swing it up ahead, and now a chance in the GOAT territory. Kurt Gibson has scored a lot of the goals tonight, but he almost turned that one over.
Wonder if Powell called a travel on Kurt. Yeah, they called a travel. Brody with a nice catch to keep it alive. Observer rules no travel. It'll stay in the hands of Smith. Similar spot to the regional final against Double Wide. Brody took a dangerous 50-50 shot to Mickle. This is an easier swing to Jimmy. Guarded by Hibbert.
Johnny Bravo trying to advance. They can do it right here with a goal. This team still has one timeout. Hardcap will go off fairly soon, a minute 15. Well, not really a factor here, because Denver would win with a 14th goal anyway, and Toronto would tie it if they got a 13th goal. That clock will go off in a minute. Doesn't really
not a factor at all.
Specify anything. Next point will win for Denver. Next point will tie for Toronto. And then it will become universe point. Jimmy Mickle cuts to the sideline. He can't get it.
Jimmy landed on his wrist.
Hibbert there with the defense. As Nick Lance swung it too far. The contact well after the play was decided.
Holding his left shoulder. Trying to stay loose. This is a contact injury, so if he's all right, he can stay in the game. A little too much on that put. Coach gonna have a chance here to tie this thing up. Unless Mickle calls the foul.
Contact, as I said, was way after the disc was already out of sight. No chance for Mickle.
If he goes to the observer, I'd be surprised if this isn't a turnover.
No foul, so it will belong to GOAT. With a chance to tie, the hard cap has gone off, so this will be a game to 14, regardless, no matter what. You don't have to win by 2 anymore. Johnny Bravo with a 1-goal lead. GOAT could tie it here and force a universe point, just like the first semifinal. Plenty of similarities between that one and this one. GOAT's got their defense on the field, so they'll have to work against the offense of Johnny Bravo. Mark Lloyd is on the field for GOAT. And it's Mark Lloyd who makes the catch here. Working against Gibson.
So far, GOAT hasn't had that many chances to break in this game. This is just the 5th. GOAT 3 for 4 in break chances so far. Even though it's felt throughout that Bravo's been in control, here we are If Goat ties it up, there'll be one more point to decide who will go against Boston tomorrow. And I think everybody watching would love to see another Universe Point Classic. Either way, these two men's semis have delivered the goods. Nice job by Powell clearing out after he got rid of the disc, and all alone on the far side of the field, they find him with a hammer to swing it.
Jeff Powell sends it to the near sideline, and a diving catch to keep it alive by Vasiliev. Swing it back again. It's Alexander this time. Goat trying to tie it. And send it to Universe Point. Vasiliev from the red zone along the sideline. It counts. A goal for Goat. And we're all tied at 13.
Vasiliev to Carroll. And both men's semis will be decided by the slimmest of all margins here in Frisco. And I'm fascinated to see who these teams put out there for their Universe Point lines.
Both of these men's semifinals coming down to Universe Point. It was Boston Ironside who never trailed in the first semifinal. Really the same thing where Raleigh just wouldn't go away. And Ironside prevailed, but Goat was also never led in this game.
Let's see who's going to stay out there for Goat.
Goat has overcome 4 two-goal deficits.
Decisions for Scott Hasty and Bob Cryer. You know, all season long they think about this. Universe Point, game to go to whatever. Who's your top 7? Coaches usually don't like that question because they like to think about their whole roster from top to bottom. And how are we going to navigate the playing time to keep everybody fresh? There's nothing about freshness here. It's about getting your best 7 players on the line for the championship at stake. Whoever scores next faces Boston tomorrow. The other experiences bitter disappointment.
Toronto has used its last time out of this game. Denver still has one. As we're about to see another Universe Point, just like we did in the first semifinal.
Looks like almost the same 7 as the previous point. Alexander, Lloyd, Martinez, Carroll, Vasiliev, Powell, and Hibbert. And at the other end of the field, Sean Keegan, Nick Lance, Kurt Gibson, Bart Watson, Jimmy Mickle, Jackson Clore, and Ryan Farrell. It's a simple game, Wayne. 7 on 7. You can't run with the disc. You can throw it in any direction, and the next score wins.
Universe Point to decide the second semifinal and to see who will play Boston Ironside for the championship in the men's division tomorrow. The national title up for grabs this weekend in Frisco. And Universe Point begins with Johnny Bravo deep in their own end zone.
Hibbert on Mickle. They isolate Jimmy in the middle.
Goat has never led. If they get a lead here, they'll be on their way to the finals.
Mickle wants to go deep on Hibbert.
Mickle's only gone deep once in this game. It's been Kurt Gibson that's done most of the damage on offense for Johnny Bravo. As Keegan has it here, and now a stoppage.
Foul called on the mark, I believe, on Lloyd. Neither Bravo nor Goat has ever won before.
There's Goat, who knocked off the defending champion Revolver. In the quarterfinals, trying to beat Johnny Bravo and advance to the finals.
Mickle all the way back for the dump.
Hibbert on Mickle. Gets it out to Kurt Gibson.
There's someone open underneath because Vasiliev was forced to poach. Lance was streaking deep downfield. Vasiliev had to help out Alexander, and that left Bart Watson wide open. He's currently about 10 yards away from Gibson. And Bart collects. Vasiliev will track him down. It's a nice job preventing the huck.
Next point wins it. Almost got away from Johnny Bravo. Here's Jimmy Mickle. Swings it out to the far side. It's Ryan Farrell looking deep to the end zone, and Kurt Gibson to finish it off for Johnny Bravo. He scores again, and Johnny Bravo advances to the finals.
It'll be Bravo and Ironside both advancing against upstart, upset-minded, valiant teams in ring and goat. Watson to Gibson. Kurt had himself a night, and it was actually Farrell who finished it off. The Bravo captain over to Kurt Gibson.
What a finish here in Frisco. Two great men's semifinals. And it's Johnny Bravo who wins 14-13 over GOAT to move on to play Boston Ironside tomorrow. Our Discraft Ultra Star play of the game. As Johnny Bravo move on after this 14-13 win. Now we take a look at our Ultra Star play of the game. This big huck downfield. Look at Jimmy Mickle lay out for this one.
Such great form on that layout. He lowers his center of gravity right before he accelerates and pushes off that back foot. Full extension. Horizontal happiness for Mickle. Got the quick score to Gibson there, and over again it was Gibson shaking his defender in the end zone. And we'll talk to both the Bravo coach and Kurt Gibson in just a minute. This Bravo team put together to win nationals. They're one step away. Thinking about that point, you know, so much riding on each and every throw with that 175-gram piece of plastic. What a great game this is.
14-13, Johnny Bravo the winner. They advance. As we are about to visit with Bob Cryer, the head coach of this Denver club. After their incredible win in this second semifinal matchup, they now move on to play Boston Ironside tomorrow. Coach, can't say enough about your team in the second half, but what a game Kurt Gibson had. Describe what kind of guy he is and really what he's overcome to get to this point.
You know, he's been a phenomenal player for us, a great talent on both sides of the ball. He's been a champion at the college level, at the club level, and he brings a fire to us that really energizes us.
Bob, down the stretch, I know you've been asked all season, what does your universe point line look like? We finally got to see it. What were your thoughts heading into that final point? Did you give the guys any final advice on the line there?
No, at that point it was just play the way that we've practiced, the way we've trained for the full year, and trust each other. Trust each other, and that if you get the disc to the next guy, you don't have to take the hero shot. We don't have to take the big play and try and do it in one throw. That we'll do it in 20, 30 throws, and we'll keep moving that disc.
And we talked last week about the play at the end of that regional final against Double Wide. It worked out for you, but it wasn't your first choice.
Correct.
You must be proud of the way your team handled that universe point there.
Yes, we got some good practice yesterday against Truck Stop, doing the exact same thing. We had to grind underneath, throw after throw, and hit a lot of uncontested throws yesterday, and we played a pretty similar game here. A few were tighter than I might have liked, but we got it. We got the goal.
Bob, last thing, quick thoughts on your rematch with Boston tomorrow.
I'm excited for it. I know that they didn't bring their best game in that wind, so if it's calm like it was tonight, it's going to be a different look.
Coach, thanks a lot. We'll see you then.
Thank you.
14-13 the final here in Frisco as Johnny Bravo advances to the finals in this national championship tournament. One more tomorrow against Boston Ironside as Denver secures the win here tonight. And Johnny Bravo, with one more to go, will try to finish off this national championship. Kurt Gibson did a lot of the work on offense tonight. You get the game winner there, but What about this night for you? 7 of the 14 goals. Were you expecting to be the go-to target like this?
You know what? It was kind of a last-minute decision to switch me to the offense this weekend, and I was really just hoping to gel with the rest of the guys out there. It's a new system for me. Coming from double wide last year, it was a completely different offense that we ran. So adjusting was one of the things that I wanted to ensure that I did before I got out there. And the last mini camp before nationals, we worked on it, and I think it's worked out for us so far.
Kurt, you're 27 years old, right in your prime.
29.
29. Well,
but I'm still in my prime. Thank you.
You're still in your prime. I was talking with your college coach, Kurt Dallenberg. He said you're in the best shape of your life. I know you do a lot. Can you explain to the people at home the types of things you do on the track, away from practice, to become this type of player?
Well, you know what? I think our whole team and the rest of the elite competitors at the tournament here are running track workouts, and that's something that I've done since college, which our coach Kurt Dallenberg, like you mentioned, got us doing. I think it was my junior year was the first year, and we ended up winning college nationals on those track workouts. But it's basically 2 workouts a week. Really beats the heck out of you, and but it really works on your mental focus as well as your physical conditioning.
So what are you doing in these workouts?
You know what? I don't know if I can let out that secret, but I can tell you that he got him from one of the Olympic athletic trainers down in Fort Lauderdale, Miami, probably 15 years ago. So, it's kind of those classic workouts, and they're still working for us.
I know this is not anything you're thinking about now, but it's a bizarre situation. Last year you lived in Denver, played for Double Wide. Now you're back in Texas playing for Bravo. Where are you playing next year?
Right now I'm focused on the team that I'm playing on right now. We got a big game tomorrow, but to be honest, it's been working for Frito-Lay for the past couple of years. I love it. It's a great company, and they've moved me around. It's just been the ultimate that's kind of taken the back seats. But you know what? We're out here on a beautiful night, playing on a great team, and we got a exciting game plan for tomorrow.
All right, Kurt, thanks a lot. Congratulations. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, guys.
Kurt Gibson of Johnny Bravo as they move on to play Boston Ironside in the men's championship game tomorrow. For Evan Lepler, I'm Wayne Randazzo. We say so long from Dr. Pink Field, Frisco, Texas. The final score of this men's semifinal: Denver, Johnny Bravo 14, Toronto Goat 13. To watch this entire game on replay, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. We thank you for watching. This has been a presentation of ESPN.